Hello, this is the Empress ZOIA, and tonight I'm going to show you how to make a simple synth on it just like this. Hey, how's it going? Tonight, looking at the ZOIA, and with the ZOIA, we're going to try to build a simple synthesizer on it. So let's go ahead. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to hook up the keep step or your MIDI controller into this. And how do we do that? Well, we just push one of those squares and we go to MIDI notes in, and within this menu you set what channel it's listening on, in this case MIDI channel 1, and you can set how many notes you expect to come in, up to 8, but in this case we're just going to keep it 1 to keep it simple. What else do we have here? We can enable velocity detection. So we're going to turn it on. What the hell, eh? We're going to keep it simple, but maybe we'll play that later. We can hook that into something, and we'll leave everything else set to default. We'll hit done. So I have the key step hooked in. You can see when I push a key, what's being registered, the gate. So if I want to push a key down, it sets the gate to 1. When I let go, it sets it to 0. And the velocity, so if I touch the key really light, there's going to be a very small number on the velocity. If I hammer it down hard, you're going to have a large number. Not sure what a hard number is, but this is the wrong channel for that kind of stuff. Okay, MIDI notes in, perfect. So we got our keyboard in. The next thing we want to do is, remember this gate 1, 0, well, that's going to be very rough. So it's either going to be no sound or sound. What we're going to do is add in an adsr envelope. And let's see if we can find it here. Nope, let's go back. Maybe it is under interface modules. I really wish they had an app for this thing. It can be a little difficult going through these various menus. You know, I'm sure I'll get better of it as I play of it more, but you know, I've played around of it for a number of nights, and there we go. So there's adsr. I just find, you know, it a little bit difficult with the small screen mixed with only the knob and the button down here. It's a little tough to build these things up. It'd be nice if there was an app, but enough bitching. Let's keep building the synth. adsr. Name adsr, colors is fine. I think we're good to keep it all default. There's not going to be an issue there. Cool. So MIDI notes in. We want to hit the gate is what we're worried about. So when we push down a key or not. So there's a gate input on the adsr. So we're going to hook up the gate from our MIDI note in detector and the gate square there into the gate input on the adsr. So you can see when I push down a key on the keyboard now it registers, but the output is, see how it slopes off and on? Well, now that we have an adsr, we can control the attack, the decay, the sustain, and the release of a MIDI note. So for example, if we want it to take a long time to build up the full note down, see how it ramps up and down? So that is the attack. So let's just dial that back down to something a little less. We can play this later when we're actually making sounds. The decay and the sustain. So if we want so the sustain is how long it stays at full strength before it starts to decay, and the release is how long it takes to release. Crank it up a little bit more than that. So now the release is really long. I've let go. See how long it slowly fades away? So that's how you kind of get those droning, terrible demonstration. But that's, you know, you crank up the release and you get something like that. Now we'll play when I actually have the synth making the sounds, not me. It's going to sound a lot better. Okay. So what do we have now? We have review. We have a module that's detecting the notes that are coming in from the keyboard. We've hooked that module into an attack, delay, sustain, release module, so which takes this raw gate input that's either 1 or 0 and outputs it into a more musical or more sound we can craft versus just on or off. Okay, so what next? We need what is it called? I think it's called a VCA, and what that stands for, I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. I should know this, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to lie to you. So under audio modules, we want a VCA now. And I may screw this up as I go along, and if I do, forgive me. I'm trying to remember all this. So in this case, we have one channel in, one channel out. All right, perfect. Done. Okay, so what is the VCA? It's going to take audio in from our oscillator, which we haven't added in yet. We'll get to that in a second. But what we're going to want to do is for the control, because what this VCA is going to do, if we don't put a VCA in, we're just going to have a raw oscillator sound. Maybe I'll set that up quick to demonstrate what the VCA actually does. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. So we'll get into the VCA in a second, but what we will do is we're going to take the gate output. So the actual how, if we want it to play a sound or not, we're going to take that and put it into the VCA level control. So that's going to kind of, you'll see how that works in a sec. But before, we need input for the VCA, but I want to show you what a VCA does. So we're going to add an oscillator. And under the oscillator, there's a couple options here. You know, there's a whole bunch of different waves. We'll play around with those in a bit. But let's just go with I always like a square. And you can enable FM. We're not going to deal with that today. I still need to read some more of my book that I'm digging into right now on FM before I even try to explain what the hell FM is. I can barely explain this well, so let's not push it tonight. That's cool. Yeah, we're just going to leave it pretty simple there. So we've picked a square oscillator. And you can see you can adjust the oscillator frequency, and here's the output. So let's go ahead and actually start hearing some sounds on this thing. Interface. So we had to put a MIDI in, but we can also do outputs, and we're going to go audio output. So we're going to go audio output, done, and we're going to take just the raw sound from the oscillator and dump it into the audio outputs. Lovely, eh? Let me crank that, dial it right in on my interface for your listening pleasure. Beautiful. All right, let's turn that off for a sec. So you can see that's not very nice. So instead of dumping the oscillator right into the audio outputs, we're gonna put it into our VCA. So let's get rid of these. Now I gotta remember how to delete. I think I hold down Shift and the delete button up here, and that will kill the link. Hopefully, perfect. Because I don't want to delete any of these modules. I just want to delete the link. So I have to select the link, and then I can delete it. Cool. So let's, instead of dumping the oscillator output, let's dump it into the VCA. And then from the VCA, let's put that into the audio output. So we'll hear nothing, but I'm going to start using the keyboard. And nothing's happening. So that's not a good sign. So what did I screw up here? So I got the oscillator output into the VCA output, and nothing's coming out of the output. Okay, so we can see that is working as intended, but why is nothing coming out? Oh, you know why? Because I forgot to turn the pedal back on. So let's try that with a pedal not on. So it was on bypass, so any sound coming out was not coming out. So I've disabled the bypass. So I got a little bit more control. I got gate control. You're saying, well, why can't you play different notes? What good is the oscillator about different notes? Remember, what have we done so far? We've got a MIDI input. So this is what's picking up. So you can see it's picking up different notes if I play different notes in the keyboard, but it's not changing the sound of the oscillator. So that's where we're probably going to have to look at first. But let's review what we have first. We have a MIDI in. So it's picking up, one, what note I'm pushing on the keyboard, and two, if I'm pushing a key down or not. So, and then remember, we've taken this key down or not and put it into the adsr which changes that very hard off on to something that we can actually shape with that adsr. And we've hooked that adsr into the volume control of the VCA. So instead, and remember, what the VCA does is it takes an input from the oscillator. I'm sure it can do other things beyond this, but in this case, I'm making a very basic synth. We're taking the oscillator output and putting it into the VCA, and then we're controlling the volume of that oscillator sound via the gate through the ADSR, which is then sending the sound out to our ears, just like a wet fart. That's not me, that is the synth, that is the pedal. All right, sorry. So how do we make it not sound like a wet fart? Well, we gotta take that the MIDI note value from the MIDI in, and we gotta adjust the oscillator frequency with that. So let's make that connection now, and let's see what it sounds like now. Let's see. I'll put it on the note so you can see. Adjust the release here a little bit. All right, you get the idea. We have a very basic synth. Cool, huh? So yeah, so that's the very basics. You know, now we can add some toys to it. You can do the exact same thing. You can add some different, more inputs, more oscillators to get multiple sounds at once. Why don't we try taking advantage of some of the effects aboard the ZOIA here? Maybe before we do that, I will demonstrate. You know, I like the square wave because it gives you that Nintendo kind of old school sound. Let's go back to our oscillator here. How are we doing? Let me just make sure I'm still recording, because I hate when I've been recording and I look down at my laptop and it stopped itself. Good. Looks like we're still going. Perfect. All right, I'll edit that out. Okay, here we go. Let's get back to it here. I'm pushing the key down now. Pushing the key down now. Okay. All right, back to business here. Okay. So let's check out some of these different oscillators. So we've put it down. This is where it gets to be a bit of a pain in the ass again to edit it on the fly. I gotta hold the shift and I gotta hit the edit button when I'm in that oscillator. And I can go back in here now, you know, I can change the color. So let's pick a nice color for it. And pardon me, edit this out. Oh, Jesus Christ, there we go. All right, so pardon me, damn gas. We picked the color, and now let's try, let's see. So that's nice that I can kind of change it on the, I can actually play on the keyboard and hear what the different ones sound like. So there's our square again. There's a triangle wave, sawtooth. Sine wave, your basic kind of curve. Sorry, I'm blowing up your monitors. Sorry, you get the idea. So that's a quick way to change. Changing the wave of an oscillator will always give you quite a different sound. It's a nice way to start off with forming your sound. Dial in what you're looking for with the oscillator wave, and you can craft it from there. If you want some sort of farty robot, you got a farty robot. Sure, let's go with farty robot. Oops. I don't know why I'm all about farts and gas tonight. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we changed the waveform. Let's chuck an effect in here. So let's go down. So, you see how we're kind of running out of squares now. Let's go to page 2 or page 1. That was page 0. And let's add in some effects here. So we can go down right here. So you can build your own effects on this, or you can use some of the pre-made ones. So what would sound good with a farty robot? Well, I think we got enough fuzz. I've played around with the reverbs a lot. Let's try a chorus. I haven't messed around with the chorus much on this yet. Blue chorus, sure. Channels 1 in, 1 out, so you can have left and right. I'm only got one mono going on right with this thing right now because I got my headphone plugged into my audio interface, so we'll just keep it on the 1 anyways. Cool. All right. So you have a couple different types of. Oh, apparently not. So that's a little annoying. It looks like you got some types of chorus. Okay, what type? Well, I hope you enjoy classic. I wonder if I change the channels, maybe if I do. Nope, apparently I still only have classic. Okay, classic better be damn good. And yeah, so back to 1 in, 1 out. Done. Chorus left. Okay, cool. So here we go. Okay, well, how do you join them up then? Well, you click on the one you want to join up. You got to go back to the old page, and now I got to remember it's coming from the VCA out. So it'll be this one here, and this is where your color schemes can come in handy because it's because when you're going back and forth between pages and it's easy to lose track of what was what. So you could see I just threw everything down with the default colors. You may want to come up with, if you're building synths or effects, some sort of your own color scheme to remember what modules are what, or have a better memory than me. All right, so we've hooked up the. Oh, you know what? I totally fucked that up. I hooked up the input. No, we're okay. I think we're okay. Pardon me. Sorry. Overthinking it. That's good. So we have the output of the VCA into the input of the effect. Now we want the effect here. We're going to want that to go out to both our left and right output. Probably only the left one matters because that's all I got hooked up to my audio interface, but we'll practice good habits here in case I decide to want to use this later. And we'll go back. That's good. Please take me back a page. It's not happy. Gabbing too much and not concentrating on what I'm doing. Okay. So I think we can hear it. We can hear the effect. Okay. So let's just review. We have, for the input, is hooked into the output of the VCA. Correct, that is good. So let's go back. Where is the output connected to? There, and I want to connect to here too. And what else I want to get rid of is now, if you look at this, I'm connected to both the effect and also the raw sound coming in from the VCA. I want to delete that. I want to clean up that link. I don't want that anymore. I just want the sound to come in just from the chorus effect. Good. And let's see. push both those down. It's a little confusing because I get in the mindset of working in one system to work across different pages. Then when I get it on the same page, I just, hopefully as I put more time in with this device, it becomes a little more natural. You can see as you watch, I'm having a little bit of difficulties just keeping it all straight. Plus, I'm also trying to think of what I'm going to say too as I present, so that makes it a little bit more difficult too. So anyway, enough bitching. Yeah, fun enough. So you can see, you can start adding effects, and then maybe, hey, that sounded not too bad. Why don't we, try to team up that chorus effect with a delay? So we're not really crafting a synth. We've made a very basic synth. Now we're adding some effects modules to your synth, but you see these sometimes built into some synths, and you can also buy pedals themselves that provide this functionality if the hardware you're using doesn't have it. In this case, we have the hardware right here that will both let us make something like a synth and also add effects in, which is the main selling thing of this. Is it's an all-in-one box, right? And the reason I bought it is you can see my setup here is pretty crowded, and I had some individual pedals, but it was just, it's already crowded. I have to go into my cabinet over there, pull out a whole bunch of wires and try to hook all that up and pull it all out of it. And it just, by the time I got it set up, I didn't even feel like playing anymore. The beauty of this is I just leave it on my desk here. If I don't want the effects, I just put it in bypass mode and let the mixer go through the pedal through bypass, so the pedal doesn't do anything into my audio interface, and I'm good to go. But then, if I craft a sound or I'm playing around, it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. I wonder what effects it sounded like against this. It's 5 seconds, I can dial up an effect. So that's the selling, and that's why I like this. And I'm ragging about the workflow and the knobs. Well, that's a trade-off, right? So anyways, this isn't a review. That's just my early impressions. The only other thing I wanted to show you is like, okay, here, how would I spend $3,500 now on these epic polysynths? I'm just going to buy one of these for $800 and my needs are met. Well, look at this number here. That percentage number is the CPU. Maybe it might be hard to see. It is. I'm going to zoom in for a second here. In hertz. All right. See that percentage number down there? That's the amount of CPU I'm using on it right now. So as I add in more MIDI inputs, as I add in more oscillators, as I add in more effects, you're going to see that percentage grow. And if I ever max it out, it's not going to be able to do it. I'm not quite sure. I haven't done it yet, but I'm assuming it will start to disable things in your chain. Anywho, let's go ahead and add in some more effects. So I fixed my camera. I've screwed up my lovely shot. My God, how will I ever get it back in focus? We only use the best audio equipment. Okay, here. Good enough. Alright, let's go ahead and add in some effects. So we'll go back to my effects page here. What do we got? A chorus. I was thinking of some sort of delay. I'm kind of sick on the reverb, so... or flang. I want something to give me a little bit of a delay. I think there's a delay with mod. delay with mod. Beautiful. Cool. Well, make it cool. Different colors so we can tell between the two. All right, done. So once again, I'm going to have to go to the output of this, and I'm going to want to put it into the input of the delay with mod, and then I'm going to take the delay with mod output. And before I do that, I'm going to clean up the links from this output to our audio output. Pardon me, sorry. I need a drink of water. I'm getting dry. Almost done here. This will be the last little thing. We're going to basically put these effects together, and then we'll play some more notes, maybe change the wave a little bit, and we'll call it a night. I think my wash is going to come on pretty soon, and it's going to drown out the audio. All right, audio out. That's right. We want to delete that. And same for this guy here. Let's go back. And delete. Goodbye. All right. Perfect. And now we just want to hook that one, the audio out on the delay of mod, which is getting the audio in from our chorus effect and everything else already. So we're good there. And I'll hook it there and hook it into both the left and right output on the pedal. Perfect. Done. Oh, that's the wash coming on right now. I jinxed myself. So you know what? I'm going to quickly ditch the mic, and we're just going to hook it up for pure audio from the pedal for the rest of this video. Unless you want to hear that lovely dishwasher or washing machine going on. There it goes, baby. All right.